All right, so look, they're lying to you about you losing your job. Every headline you read says AI is replacing the workforce or robots are coming for your paycheck. But if you actually looked at the data, HP just announced that they're firing 6,000 people and they're blaming it on AI transformation. But when you look at it, look at their balance sheet, their printer business is bleeding out. And honestly, has anybody bought an HP recently, right? Like, if AI is so good at replacing us, why are 95% of enterprise projects failing right now? And we're going to talk about the fact that MIT has two totally contradictory studies that are only just a few months apart. So is it really a technology revolution, or is artificial intelligence just a convenient excuse for the old-fashioned corporate greed and the reason to reduce headcount? So I've been at this game for a long time, and today I'm going to break down to you why the math doesn't add up. See, every single week I see another headline screaming that AI is about to take your job. MIT just dropped this study saying that AI can replace 11.7% of the workforce. McKinsey says 40% of jobs could be automated. HP's big announcement about AI layoffs. But here's what nobody's asking. Is if AI is really going to replace workers, why hasn't it already? We've had ChatGPT for years. We've had a better and better assistants. Gemini 3 just released, right? We've had coding assistants, AI writing tools, automated customer service bots. But yet, do you really hear your job actually getting replaced by AI yet? So we're going to take a look at what actually companies are doing and why the economy has hurt far more jobs than AI. And let's dive into this today. Welcome to Startup Pack. I'm Spencer, and here at Startup Pack, we'd love to build custom software solutions for companies, especially with real AI stuff. With a decade of executive leadership as a fractional CTO and 25 years in software development, I've mastered transforming tech teams and products. All right. The narrative right now is that AI is coming for your job any minute, right? But after watching tech cycles for a quarter of a century, I can tell you, what we're seeing isn't AI replacing workers. What we're seeing is a company using AI transformation as a convenient excuse for cost cutting when their company's not doing well. So look, the same MIT that just said that AI can replace 11.7% of your workforce, well, that's the same MIT that just 2 months ago said 95% of enterprise AI projects fail. So which is it? Can AI replace 12% of workers, or can it barely work at all? Now, also, if you have some thoughts, leave a comment down below, because the best compliment you can give me is when you leave a comment down below. Even if you disagree with me, I'd love to have a great conversation. It's my absolute favorite thing and the best compliment you can give me. All right, so we need to have a serious talk about the fear-mongering going on right now. You see these charts saying that 40% of roles are at risk involving routine drafting and reasoning, and it makes you want to go live in a bunker. But let's look at the reality on the ground. I see companies scrambling to cut costs because interest rates are so high and have been so up for so long that the free money era is over. Not because ChatGPT learned how to do your job better than you. The media loves a good Terminator type story, but the boring truth is that actually these companies are just struggling and interest rates are squeezing them, and their quarterly earnings reports and Wall Street is rewarding companies who are cutting headcounts, not those who are staying loyal to workers. So I'm going to break down some of the reasons why AI is not the one pink slipping you. So before we dive in, let's go after some and take a look at some of these articles here today. All right, so a huge wave is coming that's going to make every technology path. See, and this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. So MIT releases this study saying that it can find that 11.7% of workforce is going to get replaced, right? And here's some more details about this article, of course, with my favorite pop-ups. So MIT study finds AI can already replace 11.7%. Now, if this were true, why hasn't it already replaced it, right? MIT released a study that found that artificial intelligence can already replace this. The study was conducted using a labor simulation tool called the Iceberg Index. Now, keep in mind, all of these simulations always fail to actually produce business, which was created by MIT. So look, what they're actually trying to do is pump their own tool here. So they're trying to sell their own tool. So they have a labor simulation tool called this, and they want to pump it. What's the best way to do that? Go grab some good headlines saying that it's going to take 12% of the workforce. For lawmakers preparing billion-dollar reskilling and training investments, the index offers a detailed map of where disruption is forming down to the zip code. Now, they say that it can already take that as much as $1.2 trillion in wages. Study was conducting blah, 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 because the Iceberg Index, which was announced earlier this year, offers a forward-looking view of how AI reshaped the labor market, not just in coastal tech, but across every state in the company. Basically, we're creating a digital twin for the U.S. labor market. Now, if this doesn't sound like some science fiction to you, buckle up, because I think it gets even more. So the index treats 150 million workers, individual agents, each tagged with skills, tasks, and occupations locations. It maps more than 32,000 skills across 923 occupations in 3,000 countries. What the researchers found is that the visible tip of the iceberg of layoff and roll shift tech company represents just 2% of wage exposure, or 212 billion. So they're saying we're just right at the tip of this. Now, look, the reality of the matter here is that Gemini 3 is released. We're really starting to see diminishing returns between these. Look, I think Gemini 3 is a great advance from 2.5, but was it really that big of a difference? I mean, it's better, but like not that much percentage of better. So already I'm kind of debunking some of this story here to me, because it's not a predictive engine about exactly when or where jobs will be lost. So right there, it tells you that it's already just grabbing some headlines, because the big question of this is when. So could AI replace 12% of the jobs in 30 years? Well, okay, in 30 years, maybe. But that's what doesn't even make sense about this, right? There's no time about this. And really, at the end of the day, they're talking about like what it could mean in terms of the shift of the state's GDP. That's the thing we've yet to see. We've not seen any of it shift the GDP yet. And that's where I'm sitting with a lot of other people. Now, this guy just noted the same thing, right? MIT released a study showing 11.7% of the U.S. workforce can, emphasis on can, be replaced by AI. This is the same MIT that said 95% of enterprise AI failed just 2 months ago, right? So, look, 5% of these projects are even working, and it hasn't even moved the GDP. The only place it's moved the GDP is on companies who are spending on AI, not AI actually replacing jobs. All right. Now, Anthropic released a new research, analyzed 100,000 conversation logs to estimate that the current AI model could increase U.S. labor productivity growth to 1.8% annually. So even Anthropic, who's trying to be optimistic, right, because they're trying to sell their model here, is saying that it will increase labor productivity by 2%. Okay, so even them, who likes to stretch their numbers, right? To get this numbers, research didn't rely on theoretical lab tests, but instead used a privacy-preserving method to study actual user interactions with Claude. They had the model looked at anonymized transcripts to estimate how long a task would take a human professional versus how long. So is there any doubt to anybody that AI can do some tasks faster than humans? Surprise, there's our big shocker here. So it turns out highly paid professionals like software developers and lawyers are getting the biggest raw time savings per task. So, we've been using AI a lot on a lot of our projects lately. It's very helpful in doing research, especially where you're trying to troubleshoot bugs and things like that. So it is helpful. Can it rewrite a code base? No. So recently we just downloaded Anti-Gravity, started to use it, loved it for the front end work, and it couldn't even compile C#. Little problem there, since all of our backend stack's written in C#. All right, let's jump this one. It's getting worse day by day. Do you hear the FUD going on here? An increasing number of studies are reaching serious conclusions. Most of the roles are at risk. About 40% involve some kind of drafting, processing information, routine reasoning that AI agents can do. So if it can do it, why isn't it doing it yet? That's my big question here. Is we keep hearing this thing about routine agents that they can do. Okay, if they could do it, they'd be doing it, and up to 40% seems like a really large number to me. Definitely larger than what we're seeing here. But you know what? We can go take a look at this. So I actually went to go take a look at this article here, and well, this is the one about the Anthropic research. That's not even the one. Okay, so we'll see if I can find this one here in a second. Next, this isn't AI replacing workers. So let's talk about the HP one, right? So let's kind of start from the bottom up, because talking about the HP to cut up to 10% of workforce, right? So this is again the same thing that I was talking about. HP is bleeding in every core business and using AI as a cover for cuts to hit Wall Street targets. Consumer PC revenues have dropped 7% this quarter. Printer hardware down 12%. Do you know anybody who's really bought a lot of printers lately? I don't. Anyways, meanwhile, memory costs jumped 15 to 18% and are eating their margins alive. The company's stuck between a dying printing business and a saturated PC market where they missed the early AI hardware wave. So they announced 6,000 layoff dressed up as AI transformation to save $1 billion by 2028. The math tells you everything. They're spending $650 million on restructuring to fire people, not building AI infrastructure. The $1 billion in saving goes straight to protecting operating margins while their actual business shrinks. The AI investment they kept mentioning, They bought Humane in February, the company that shipped the $700 AI pen the reviewers called one of the worst products of 2024. That's the cornerstone of HP's AI powered future. This reveals the playbook. When your legacy business model collapses, slap A on the restructuring press release. Wall Street nods, analysts write strategic transformation, and 6,000 people lose their jobs while the company admits AI will perform many tasks better and faster than human employees. But how they're going to do that and how they're going to change their business, no mention here, right? HP's done this before. They announced 4,000 to 6,000 layoffs and cuts in 2022, and this was before AI, under future-ready transformation, then another 1,000 to 2,000 in September 2025. So the CEO says this is an interesting industry-wide phenomenon that companies have embraced to remain competitive, i.e., translation, every struggling legacy tech company will use AI as a justification for workforce reductions, regardless of whether they're actually deploying meaningful AI capabilities. This guy's got it spot on. I think he stole my script, or maybe I'm stealing his. I don't know. Anyways, I totally agree with this guy. Actually, speaking of which, I'm following him. So we're watching the blueprints for 2025 layoffs. Declining core businesses plus rising costs equals workforce reduction, rebranded as innovation. And it works because admitting we're cutting jobs because our products are losing relevance tanks the stock, while AI transformation gets you upgrades. So now I'm really curious. What happened to HP stock after they announced this? Stock price. Hey, look at that. It went up because of their AI transformation, right? You see, sure enough, they've been tanking for a long time. They announced they're going to do AI included layoffs, and they started to go up. Yay, 10% gain on AI. Go Wall Street. Another one on these, right? Oh, it looks like I got this link twice here. All right. Now, let's kind of take a look at this. So McKinsey drops their 2025 AI report. Here's the TLDR. Top 10 takeaways, but in reality, it's delivering the hype, right? So 90% of companies use AI, but 67% are still stuck in pilot mode, right? Love that one. 62% of orgs are experimenting with AI. 23% are scaling AI agents. I'd be curious to know what that 23% looks like. The impact gap is massive. 64% AI helps innovations, but only 39% sees real EBIT gains, right? The high performance top 6% think bigger. Leaders who own AI personally are 3 times more likely to scale it. That's kind of interesting. So this technology that requires leadership to be part of the solution and lean into technology, AI is adaptable and accessible. The more invested leaders are, the harder they will push the agenda of AI. All right, the winners use AI to transform how to get work done, not just speed it up. The average company measures efficiency. There is a good one. That's a good one. The best one measures how fast their agents can act. The speed of information turned into actionable insight in this new competitive advantage. AI adoption is mainstream, but the true transformation hasn't started. So everybody's talking about AI. Everybody's got their AI chatbots, and no one really knows how to use it. So this is the one from Claude or from Anthropic, where they're estimating AI productivities. So we already covered some of that one. So I think, this is that one article I was looking for. So you can see that we've covered a lot of different things here, and there's a ton of chatter about this. And so I kind of really want to make sure I dive in and give you my thoughts, right? Because HP is just using this classic to save the stock. But I really want to kind of dive into the MIT paradox here, right? Everyone's freaking out because this new MIT report says the 12% of the US labor market. And that sounds terrifying until you realize it's the same MIT that released a study 2 months ago saying 95% of enterprise AI projects fail. So which is it? AI is super competent worker stealing your job, or is it failing project that burns money? So the media loves to cherry pick the scary headlines about $1.2 trillion in wages being replaced, but they ignore the failure rates, and they also ignore to notice the study does not publish any amount of time in which the predicted $1.2 trillion is going to be done. So Anthropic released their research and says that it's going to grow 2% on productivity. 2%, right? So if they looked at 100,000 conversation logs and looked at the real data and find 2%, right? So it's like saying that I can build a house in an hour because I can draw the blueprints that fast, ignoring the months of actual construction. Real productivity is measured in finished products, not how fast you can generate the first draft that might be full of errors. Let's talk a little bit about this for like vibe coding, right? Can AI do vibe coding? Yes. Can it crank out some great prototypes? Absolutely. Should you ship those prototypes to production? Absolutely not. So this leads me to the concept that nobody talks about enough, the integration tax of using these tools. Anthropic admits that high-paid professionals like lawyers and devs save the most raw time, but it can theoretically save hours. But to ensure that AI wasn't just hallucinating, they had to validate the model against real-world software. So the correlation they found was that 0.44%, which is a decent, like about half a percent, that it means it can actually help you if you weren't, because you're having to spend that time checking on it. Now, Wall Street just loves their favorite AI buzzword. As soon as a company slaps AI onto it, like HP, they're going to get progress, and we saw that stock go up 10%, right? When it's been on a steady decline for months. Now, HP's big AI investment mentioned was buying a company named Humane back in February. But this is the same company that shipped the AI pen, which reviewers almost unanimously called the worst product of 2024. Now, studies claim that 40% of roles involve routine drafting and information process. Agents can do it, but processing information is not the same as understanding the context. So just because you have something, then go process the information, being able to take that in that information and integrate it into an actual job is where the real time cost comes. So let's stop pretending that technology is the main driver here. It's the interest rates, right? When capital was cheap, tech companies hired everyone they could find. Now that money's expensive, they're shedding weight. HP is stuck behind a dying printing business and a saturated PC market, and that's why they're cutting costs. Anthropic's own study admits that they can't account for the time humans spent validating the AI's work, right? So until AI can be trusted 100% without human oversight, you can't fire the human in the loop. So corporations love to rebrand their failures as strategic shifts, and we've seen HP doing this, right? So we're reaching the peak of inflated expectations, and the trough of disillusionment is coming. Investors are starting to ask, where's the revenue from all these billions that we spent on AI chips? Just like the dot-com bubble, the companies with no real business models other than just we use AI are going to get wiped out. The jobs will come back when the market stabilizes and we figure out how to actually use these tools for profit. Real productivity gains take a decade to ripple through the economy, not just 6 months. So keep your skills sharp, learn the tools, don't buy into the hype that you're obsolete. And as always, if your company has systems that aren't connected and you need some help, reach out to us, because our specialty is helping companies build custom software so that they can integrate their systems. And here's some great information about some of our services.
Hi, I'm Spencer, a fractional CTO. With over a decade of executive leadership and 25 years in software development, I've transformed technology teams and products for businesses just like yours. As your fractional CTO, you get the strategic guidance of a seasoned technology executive without the full-time commitment. Perfect for companies ready to leverage cutting-edge technology without expanding headcount. My team at Startup Hack has already built advanced AI agents for small and medium businesses, automating complex workflows and delivering advanced ROI to human workflows. We specialize in creating custom software that connects your systems into a single coherent technology ecosystem. Our development approach focuses on tangible business outcomes. For one client, we developed AI-powered workflows that cut days off of human processes. For another company, by connecting multiple systems, we reduced processing time to increase their ROI by over 75%. We don't just write code, we architect solutions that scale. Whether you need cloud system architecture, data integration between legacy systems, or custom AI agents that automate your unique business processes, my team delivers results that exceed your expectations. Having led technology for a lot of companies and launched 7 successful brands of my own, I bring battle-tested expertise to your business challenges. Our specialty is turning technological complexity into business advantage. So if you're ready to harness the power of AI and custom software to drive your business forward, let's connect. Together, we'll build technology that doesn't just solve today's problems, it positions you for tomorrow's opportunities. Technology leadership, decades of experience, AI powered. Reach out today and we can help you. Check out startuphack.com.